What's good, you guys? You know who it is, man. It's your boy, Mr. Relentless Lex, and I'm back with another video for today. You guys, we have this Disney movie shows how selling your soul actually works. Now, we heard that Disney has some demonic stuff going on, some behind-the-scenes things that we all heard about Disney concerning different communities of sexuality. How true it is, hey, I couldn't tell you. This is all allegations. This is all alleged information. Shout out to the Truth Is Podcast for this. The link to the original video will be down inside my description. Make sure we comment, liking, and subscribing. Enjoy the reaction. And I will make sure, not I will make sure, but y'all make sure y'all watch it to the end. Because it gets better towards the end. I swear. You got to hang in there. Let's get it.
This 90s Disney movie showed us what it truly costs to be a star athlete. In HE Double Hockey Sticks, a rising hockey player is offered an ultimate deal that would grant them everything he has ever dreamed of. He is promised a championship, massive fame, and superstar status. But this deal wasn't with the league. It was with the man downstairs. When you look closely at the
Wow. The man, bro, when he said the deal was with the man downstairs, bro, we all know who that is. Yes, that guy.
In this movie, it's almost hard to believe it aired on Disney Channel. Today, we are breaking down exactly what HE Double Hockey Sticks was showing us about the hidden price of stardom. By the end of this video, you will be left asking what else are they hiding in these kids' movies.
Up next, the ice heats up when a hockey star sells his soul in HE Double Hockey Sticks.
Wow, they just advertising it like that.
Follows a hockey player named Dave Heinrich, who plays for the fictional NHL team, the Demons. Dave is obsessed with becoming the...
Just so happened. Now look, that's crazy. How ironic is that? This guy said he's willing to sell his soul for fame, for hockey fame. And he's playing for a team named the Demons. That's ironic.
Youngest man to ever win the Stanley Cup, and makes it clear he is willing to do anything to achieve that. One day, during a post-game interview, he is asked how badly he wants to win the Stanley Cup. He responds by saying he is willing to sell his soul to win it.
Just how badly do you want to win the Stanley Cup?
Oh man,
wow.
I'd sell my soul to win the Stanley Cup.
At that moment, a mysterious stranger named Grifflin approaches him, taking note of his desperation.
AKA the devil.
Sell my soul. Can I quote you on that? We get back to the soul thing. How bad will you sell your soul, and at what price, Dave?
Grifflin was sent to the surface by the head of the underworld, Miss Beelzebub, with the mission of getting Dave to sign the ultimate deal. This movie shows us exactly how that deal looks. For instance, they demonstrate the power of the tongue. When David is doing the interview and tells the interviewer he is willing to sell his soul to win the Stanley Cup, he immediately invites Grifkin to tempt him. He quite literally spoke it into existence, and that's how the evil was allowed to come in. This is why you should always be careful what you wish for. Later, after a game, Grifkin approaches Dave for a second time to finally reveal who he really is and make his ultimate offer. He promises Dave the Stanley Cup trophy, but at a seriously dark price. He wants his soul in exchange.
You're from, huh? The Times, the Post? No, actually, I'm from hell. Here, take a card. Look, Dave, I can tell you're a busy man, so I'm gonna cut right to the chase, okay? I'm here to offer you the Stanley Cup in exchange for your soul.
Wow, who just came out and just said it, though. And see, the thing about it is this, though. See, we all watch movies like with the devil in it or Satan in it and everything like that. And a lot of times, we always, growing up with me as a little kid, I always pictured the devil as with horns and red and dark eyes and talk like a different tone of voice. But bro, this guy's polite. He's groomed. And look, he got a little fine sway about himself. But he's come with pure evil intentions.
Yeah, whatever.
Dave, not believing any of it, brushes him off. For the next 30 minutes of the movie, we watch Dave being tempted by Grifkin. In order to get Dave to sign, he literally starts sabotaging his games and making him lose on purpose. He even appears in his apartment and shows him a vision of his future if he doesn't make the deal, showing him as a washed-up has-been who never won the Stanley Cup. While Dave at first was resilient, Eventually, he gave in to the temptation and made the deal. This is the ultimate temptation in the biblical stories. This scene comes directly from the story in the Bible where Jesus is tempted in the desert by the adversary. He offered Jesus the keys to the world if he bowed to him, but he refused. This is the same concept.
He wasn't in the desert, bro. He was on top of the mountain. I'm just letting you know that. He was on top of the mountain.
We see in this movie. And although Dave refused,
He said, what good is it for a man to gain the riches of the world and lose his soul? Come on now. Hello, somebody.
at first, he eventually gave in. But the most revealing part was what they were doing to Dave when he refused to sign. When Dave said no to Grifkin, he didn't just walk away and take no for an answer. He tried to force Dave into taking the deal by any means necessary. Not only did they make him start losing games embarrassingly, but they also showed them a false vision of his future as a washed-up player. They were quite literally making it impossible for him to win and become a star without giving them his soul. This mirrors the idea that the ultimate success in the biggest industries isn't achieved solely with talent, hard work, and dedication, but through a deal with the forces that govern the game. If Dave wanted to be a legend in the game, he would have had to align himself with those who run it. After he signs, everything changes immediately. His team wins big in the very next game, and he is labeled the MVP.
Wow.
Dave Heinrich, up close and personal. 13's the lucky number for the Demons, who won their 13th game in a row, and it moves them into first place in their division.
That's
Thanks
crazy,
to the
though.
once maligned Dave Heinrich. That's right. Heinrich is definitely the soul of this hockey team. Thanks to him, the Demons are the odds-on favorite to win this year's Stanley Cup.
Right as his dream was unfolding and his team was getting ready to win the championship, he discovered why he should never make a deal with the devil. While Grifkin promised Dave's team would win a Stanley Cup, they never told him he would be on the team when it happened. In a sudden twist of events, just a few games before the big game,
Wow, that was the fine print. Wow, bro, that deserves a bomb right there. They never told him that Dave was going to be on the team. When that's crazy.
Beelzebub gets him traded to the worst team in the league, the Angels. Now Dave was left with no
So he
championship.
went from the Demons to the Angels, and the Angels. Why the Angels gotta be the worst team in the league, bro? The Demons is the best team, and the Angels is the worst team. Bro, that's crazy.
Or so. The movie also depicts the reality of not reading the fine print. In the movie, Dave signs the contract without a second thought. He for some reason trusts that the forces of the underworld aren't going to screw him over. He signs it not realizing it is not what he expects. They promise Dave the world, but the real catch is always hidden at the very bottom of the page where you never look. Once Dave finally signs the paper, he realized he signed everything away for nothing. It seems like this was direct commentary on the industry contracts we often hear about. Artists sign these massive deals only to find out, like Dave, they were tricked out of everything. We recently spoke about this in my video about Tay Keith and the industry pattern of artists always speaking out. This makes Grifkin feel bad for Dave since he was the one who tricked him into signing the deal. He tells Dave that to save his soul, he must prevent his old team, the Demons, from winning by beating them with his new team, the Angels. And this is how the movie ends. Dave hits the winning puck at the very last minute and wins not only the championship, but his soul too. This insane movie was literally a recurring film on the Disney Channel. The craziest thing about all of this is that they named this kids movie Hell. While it is spelled out H-E double hockey sticks, it is meant to represent hell. While the movie was initially created for ABC, eventually the Disney Channel picked it up and it was shown until the mid-2000s. This movie came out when I was a kid, and I remember seeing it, but I had no idea what the movie was actually about. It wasn't until I saw this movie on YouTube the other day that it all hit me. They actually made a kids movie about a hockey player literally selling his soul to be a champion. You honestly can't make this up. I wonder who thought this was the right story to be telling a bunch of preteens. But despite being a movie for kids, it presented some very interesting ideas about the concept of stardom. Let's look at how H-E double hockey sticks actually shows the underworld. In most movies, the underworld is depicted as a terrifying fiery realm. But in this movie, they show it completely different. It appears like a boring everyday corporate office building. Miss Beelzebub, who is the devil, sits behind a big desk like she is the boss of a regular company. All of the demons walking around are just regular workers who have to clock in and out of their shifts. Grifkin even has a quota he has to meet to get his horns. It is depicted like a normal everyday sales job, but they're trading human souls instead of products. It is truly interesting how they chose to depict the underworld, the darkest place in existence, as just a regular everyday corporate building. This also brings up another really common theme we see in all of these movies, the idea of the assigned handler. In almost every one of these movies that tells this story, the person who makes the deal is always assigned a handler. After Dave agrees, Grifkin stays right by his side and takes the role. What is really telling is that the story in this kid's movie is quite literally identical to what is shown in the movie Him. In that movie, instead of a hockey player, it is a football player who is offered the ultimate deal. In Him, we follow a rising athlete named Cameron who dreams of being the next football GOAT. Cameron is essentially playing the same character as Dave in HE double hockey sticks. Before he gets drafted, he gets invited to train with a pro football legend named Isaiah. Isaiah is essentially the Grifkin in this story. He is secretly working for a powerful group made up of wealthy team owners who run the league. Isaiah's job is identical to Grifkin's. He too needs to tempt Cameron and get him to agree to take the ultimate deal. So he invites him to his ranch, where he spends the majority of the film tempting him. The only reason Isaiah invited the young athlete to train was to make him participate in a strange passing of the torch ceremony. In that world, only an athlete who participates in that strange ceremony can become the next superstar. I actually made a full breakdown on this movie if you want to hear more about it. Watch this video after this one. Now, these were two completely different movies. One is a comedy made for kids, and the other is a horror movie made for adults. Yet, they both showed us the same price for success. It is crazy to think that the kids in the 2000s were watching this movie without giving it a second thought. They really had some dark, mature themes in some of these DCOM movies. You would expect to find this story in an episode of The Twilight Zone, not a family-friendly comedy flick. This wasn't the first time Disney did a bit too much in one of their movies. I remember they had a movie called Don't Look Under the Bed that terrified me as a kid. The movie was about a teenage girl who is being terrorized by the boogeyman who lives under her bed. The movie was so scary that hordes of parents complained after their child was afraid to go to sleep at night. Eventually, so many complaints came in that Disney was forced to stop showing the movie around 2006. While we're talking about movies that were a little bit too much for kids, we also need to talk about Little Monsters, which again features a story about monsters sleeping under the beds of children. This time, the monsters are trying to lure the kids to the underworld so they can trap their soul forever. And parents in the 90s wondered why their child didn't want to sleep by themselves at night. They were literally watching movies about monsters who lured them into the underworld. I wouldn't be able to sleep either.
Thanks.
Again, it brings us back to how little thought we give these movies. Most of the time, parents just trust these companies to provide safe content for children. But honestly, this might be a good indicator that you should start watching these movies firsthand before allowing your child to see them. Just because it was released by a safe children's media company doesn't mean all these themes are truly safe. While it was a goofy comedy movie, the story it is telling is one as old as time. So many Hollywood movies keep telling this exact same story over and over again. Now, there are plenty of movies made for kids that tell deep stories like we see in this one. If you want me to make a part 2 covering those movies, comment part 2 below. If enough of you are interested, I will make sure it's the very next video. This movie actually reminds me so much of American Satan. In that film,
that was a good movie.
We again see Hollywood tell us the same exact story about the dark price of fame. But this time, it follows a rock band willing to do anything to make it big. If you want to see what American Satan tells us about what fame really costs, watch this video right now.
Man, that's crazy though. But my man off the Truth Is podcast is absolutely right. Just because this Disney Channel, think about it. Imagine your kid in the room, you around there cooking or doing what you're doing, right? And the kids are in the room watching Disney Channel, and you thinking it's safe, and the whole time they're watching movies like these movies that says that monsters is under the bed and everything. And then they want to sleep with their light on, but your light bill is high as I don't know what, and you say, I'll cut your rump if you don't cut that light off. Not knowing that they're terrified for their life. Now that's crazy. Facts though.